The ocean stretches endlessly before you, a vast blue world that promises freedom but demands respect. Life at sea is harsh and unforgiving, yet it calls to those who seek more than ordinary work on land. You are now part of a pirate crew, and every day is a mix of strict discipline, constant danger, and the hope of a big reward. The first thing you learn is that a pirate ship is not chaos. It's a finely tuned machine. Every man has a role, and order keeps you alive. The quartermaster enforces rules, the captain commands, and the sailors follow, knowing that even a small mistake can cost lives. Discipline and skill are the currency here, and respect is earned, not given. Piracy is more than just attacking ships. It's a game of psychology and strategy. A flag can be more powerful than a cannon. The famous black flag, known as the Jolly Roger, signals death and fear to any ship that sees it. Some pirates even flew red flags to show that no mercy would be given. Every symbol on a flag tells a story. A skull, a skeleton with an hourglass, a bleeding heart pierced by a spear. These symbols aren't decoration. They are warnings meant to make an enemy surrender without a fight. Merchants often gave up their cargo simply because the reputation of the pirate and the image of the flag were terrifying enough. This clever use of fear saved ships, crews, and ammunition. When your captain gives the order to attack, it's precise and deadly. Maneuvering your ship so it crosses the enemy's path at the right angle allows a devastating broadside. Cannons roar, smoke fills the air, and chaos descends on the deck. Chain shot tears sails apart. Grape shot turns cannons into massive shotguns, and every move is calculated for maximum effect. When the merchant ship is crippled, grappling hooks connect the two ships. And voiceover style, calm, reflective, and immersive, like a nostalgic history documentary. Tone, gentle, slow-paced, emotionally warm, with subtle storytelling rhythm. Delivery, emphasize atmosphere and emotion. Pause naturally. Let the listener feel the cold, the silence, the firelight. Reference style, similar to YouTube channels like History Matters or Simple History, but with more emotional depth. The script should have emotions like ha ha ha, awe, weepin', etc. Finally, the ship sails to a pirate-friendly port like Nassau. Here, the crew can enjoy shore leave. The taverns are loud, crowded, and full of chaos. Pirates spend their money quickly, drinking strong rum, gambling, and buying weapons or clothes. Life in a pirate haven is about living fully in the moment, knowing tomorrow may not come. A week of freedom on land contrasts sharply with the strict order at sea. Pirates live for now, and this mindset fuels their reputation and legend. At sea, boredom is another danger. To survive long stretches, pirates sing shanties to coordinate work, or tell ballads during off hours. Storytelling passes time and strengthens the Brotherhood. Games of chance, like dice or cards, are common, and cheating is punished by the Quartermaster. Oral history keeps everyone informed about threats, opportunities, and the latest news from ports. This culture of shared knowledge, song, and camaraderie forms the heart of pirate life beyond combat. Despite the thrill, many pirate myths are false. Buried treasure, walking the plank, and parrots on shoulders are mostly fiction. Pirates spent their loot quickly, and any attempt to secretly bury wealth was rare. Walking the plank was largely a dramatic invention, while parrots were uncommon and impractical. Reality was harsh, practical, and often more interesting than myths. Pirates lived by strict codes, valued fairness, and used cunning and strategy rather than theatrics. As a new pirate, you now understand the blend of danger, freedom, and cunning that defines life at sea. You also realize that this world cannot last forever. The great empires are growing stronger, and naval forces will soon challenge pirate freedom. But for now, the life of adventure continues, filled with risk, reward, and the thrill of living beyond the law. Every day is a gamble, every battle a test, and every treasure a hard-won prize. You watch the horizon, knowing that soon you will face your next challenge. Ships appear in the distance, sails glinting in the sun. The thrill of the chase, the roar of cannon fire, and the strategy of pirate life await. Will your next prize be easy, or will it test your skill and courage to the limit? The ocean doesn't answer, but it always rewards those bold enough to take what they deserve. The life of a pirate is dangerous, exciting, and unpredictable. But what happens when the seas turn against you and empires bring their full power? Will you fight to survive, or will the oceans claim you? Stay tuned to see how pirates adapt or fall. Life on a pirate ship is a constant swing between extreme discipline and complete chaos. At sea, the crew moves like a single organism, every man knowing his role. The helmsman steers, the lookouts scan the horizon, and the gunners prepare their cannons. Even a small mistake can cost lives or a valuable prize. But when the ship is safely anchored, or during shore leave, the crew explodes into wild freedom. Songs, stories, and laughter fill the air. A skilled fiddler plays on the deck, and the sweet, mournful sound drifts over the waves. Sea shanties are sung to coordinate labor, while ballads tell tales of heroism, lost love, and daring adventures. These songs are not just entertainment, they are the culture and memory of the pirate world, passed from one crew to the next. The thrill of pirate life is matched only by its danger. Each battle is a carefully calculated risk. Capturing a merchant ship is rarely done through pure force alone. The black flag itself is a psychological weapon. Merchants recognize the symbols immediately: skulls, skeletons, bleeding hearts. A reputation for cruelty can make a crew surrender before the cannons are even fired. Pirates prefer this method because a fight always damages ships, wastes ammunition, and risks lives. The ideal attack is precise, calculated, and terrifying, leaving the crew unharmed while the prize is won. When the moment to attack arrives, it is orchestrated like a deadly dance. The ship maneuvers to cross the enemy's path perfectly, allowing the full firepower of the cannons to hit a vulnerable point. Chain shot destroys sails, grape shot sweeps enemy decks, and every man works like clockwork under the quartermaster's watchful eye. Once the merchant ship is crippled, grappling hooks connect the vessels. Pirates board, with swords drawn and pistols ready. Fighting is brutal, but usually brief. The merchant crew often surrenders quickly, understanding the choice. Resistance could be fatal, but surrender may save lives. This is how pirates turn fear into profit, minimizing losses while maximizing gain. After the battle, the division of plunder is strict. Injured sailors are compensated first, followed by the fair distribution of goods and coins among the crew. Valuable items often include sugar, tobacco, spices, silk, and other commodities, more profitable than gold coins. Tools, sails, ropes, and weapons are also added to the ship's stores. The pirate code is clear. Hiding or stealing from fellow crew members is the gravest betrayal. Trust is everything. Every pirate relies on the honor of others to maintain survival and success. Shore leave is a wild contrast to life at sea. Pirate havens like Nassau are chaotic and lawless. Taverns overflow with drunken laughter, shouting, gambling, and music. Pirates spend their earnings fast on strong rum, new weapons, fine clothes, and games of chance. Life on land is intense, fleeting, and dangerous, much like life at sea. Pirates rarely save anything. Their philosophy is simple. Live fully today, because tomorrow is uncertain. Each day ashore is a celebration of freedom, but it is always temporary. Despite the excitement, many myths of piracy are false. Buried treasure, walking the plank, and parrots on shoulders are mostly fiction. Pirates spent their wealth immediately, rather than saving it, and elaborate punishments like the plank were rarely used. The popular image of a parrot perched on a captain's shoulder comes from fiction, not historical reality. The truth is far more practical. Pirates lived by codes, divided loot fairly, and focused on survival, strategy, and teamwork, rather than theatrical violence. Storytelling is another key part of pirate culture. During quiet nights or long watches, sailors share tales. These stories could be exaggerated boasts, ghost stories, or news from distant ports. They help build reputations, entertain the crew, and maintain morale. Knowledge is power at sea, and information about ships, treasure, or dangers is crucial. The crew learns to navigate not only the ocean, but also the ever-changing social world of pirates and port towns. Life on a pirate ship is a blend of freedom and danger, strategy and chaos. The crew must be skilled, brave, and loyal. Every day is unpredictable. Storms, enemy ships, or a sudden opportunity for plunder can change everything in an instant. The pirate world is exciting, but also unforgiving. Mistakes are costly, and loyalty is rewarded, while betrayal is punished severely. Survival requires intelligence, courage, and a willingness to take calculated risks. You begin to understand that pirates are not just thieves. They are a community with strict rules, a shared culture, and a code that balances risk and reward. They are craftsmen of strategy, psychology, and combat, thriving in a harsh environment. Yet, this golden age cannot last forever. Empires grow stronger, and soon the unchallenged freedom of the seas will be threatened. The question on every pirate's mind is simple. How long can this freedom last? The life of a pirate is thrilling, but even the bravest face dangers that can change everything. Will cunning and skill keep you alive, Or will the growing power of empires finally end your adventure? Stay tuned to discover the turning tide of piracy. As the pirate life continues, you begin to see the real power of reputation. The black flag, the skull, and other terrifying symbols are more than just decoration. They are weapons. They speak to fear, chaos, and death. A merchant ship seeing your flag might surrender without a fight because they know the reputation of your captain and crew. The Jolly Roger is not just a flag. It is a promise of violence if ignored, and a signal of mercy if obeyed. Black means death. Red means total rage, and each symbol sends a clear message. A skeleton with an hourglass says time is running out. A bleeding heart warns of pain. Every pirate captain designed a flag that told a story about their brand of terror. Piracy is more business than myth. Every attack is carefully calculated to minimize damage and risk. A bloody battle reduces the number of men available for future work and spoils profits. Broadside attacks are tactical masterpieces. Positioning the ship to fire all cannons at the enemy's weak points while avoiding return fire is crucial. Chain shot destroys sails, grape shot clears decks, and each sailor has a role in the deadly precision. Boarding a ship is violent but swift, often over in minutes. The captured crew usually surrenders quickly. They understand resistance is nearly always fatal. The goal is profit and survival, not mindless slaughter. After the battle, discipline is strict. Injured sailors are paid first, followed by the fair division of treasure among the crew. Loot includes sugar, tobacco, spices, silk, tools, sails, ropes, weapons, and anything valuable. The pirate code forbids stealing from fellow crew members. Trust is essential. Each man relies on the honesty of the others to ensure success and survival. Even the smallest act of betrayal can lead to exile or death. This strict system is what keeps the pirate brotherhood alive in the chaos of the sea. Shore leave is another extreme. Pirate havens are chaotic, lawless places like Nassau. Taverns overflow with pirates drinking, gambling, and celebrating. Wealth is spent quickly on food, strong rum, weapons, and entertainment. The philosophy is simple. Live fully today, because tomorrow is uncertain. Life at a pirate haven is a frenzy of fun, laughter, and chaos. Dice games, card games, and wagers are everywhere. Money changes hands quickly, and fortunes can vanish in hours. Freedom is sweet, but fleeting. And every pirate understands the temporary nature of this lifestyle. Even as you enjoy shore leave, myths of piracy are exposed as exaggerations. Buried treasure, walking the plank, and parrots on shoulders are mostly fiction. Pirates rarely saved money, and punishment rituals were practical rather than theatrical. The real pirate life is about strategy, teamwork, and survival. Historical accuracy shows pirates as clever, disciplined, and pragmatic, not just swashbuckling entertainers. Understanding this reality changes how you see the pirate world. Storytelling and news are central to life at sea. Sailors share tales of adventure, danger, or gossip during long watches. Ghost stories, enemy sightings, and rumors keep the crew informed. These stories also build reputations and create legends. Pirates learn about the world beyond the horizon, tracking which governors are hunting pirates and which merchant ships carry valuable cargo. Knowledge is power, and these tales are vital to survival. The life of a pirate is a constant battle between freedom and danger. Every day brings unpredictable challenges, storms, enemy ships, or sudden opportunities for plunder. Mistakes can be deadly, and loyalty is rewarded, while betrayal is punished severely. Survival demands intelligence, courage, and quick thinking. A pirate must always be ready to act, balancing fear and aggression, strategy and instinct, to thrive in a chaotic world. Despite the risks, pirates form tight communities. They rely on rules, culture, and shared responsibility. The code ensures fairness. The songs maintain rhythm and morale, and storytelling preserves knowledge. These elements transform a group of dangerous outlaws into a functioning society on the unpredictable seas. Pirates are not mere criminals. They are craftsmen of strategy, psychology, and survival. Their lives may be brief, but they are intense and memorable. But the golden age cannot last forever. As empires grow stronger, threats increase. The freedom you enjoy is temporary. Governors are offering pardons, sending naval frigates, and even hiring former pirates to hunt down their old brothers. The pirate brotherhood faces division, betrayal, and constant danger. Every decision now carries the weight of survival and legacy. The world is changing, and the question on every pirate's mind is no longer about the next prize. It is about how their story will end. Pirates live by fear, skill, and reputation. But even the boldest cannot escape the growing power of empires. How will they survive when the world fights back? Keep watching to see the final battles and the choices that define a pirate's fate. As the golden age of piracy reaches its peak, the empires of England, Spain, and France finally turn their full attention to the pirates. For years, their navies were busy fighting each other, which allowed pirates to flourish in the Caribbean and Atlantic. Now, peace treaties have been signed, and their warships are free to hunt down the outlaws. The pirates who once ruled the seas suddenly find themselves outmatched by professional, well-armed naval forces. These fleets are faster, better organized, and far more dangerous than the merchant ships pirates usually targeted. The authorities begin with a clever tactic: the king's pardon. A proclamation offers amnesty to any pirate who surrenders by a certain date. It promises a clean slate, freedom from the gallows, and a chance to return to ordinary life. Some pirates, weary of the constant danger, accept. Famous pirates like Benjamin Hornold see it as a way to retire in peace. Others, suspicious of the offer, view it as a trap. Accepting the pardon is considered betrayal by many, and the unity of pirate communities starts to crumble. The very freedom they fought for begins slipping away. When pardons are ignored, the empires unleash the stick. Royal Navy frigates, fast and heavily armed, patrol the seas. Each is captained by experienced officers and manned by disciplined Marines. They are far more dangerous than the clumsy merchant ships pirates normally target. Tactics that once worked, like clever looping maneuvers, are no longer enough. Pirate crews must either flee, fight against overwhelming odds, or surrender. The rules of the game have changed, and the sea itself has become a battlefield where survival is no longer guaranteed. Some pirates find themselves hunted by their former brothers. Those who accepted pardons now serve as pirate hunters, using their insider knowledge to track old allies. Men like Hornold know the secret codes, tactics, and hiding spots of the pirate world. This betrayal cuts deep. Brotherhoods fracture, and the threat comes not only from empires, but from those who once shared your life and danger. The golden age of piracy begins its final, dangerous chapter. Every pirate faces a growing question. What will their end look like? The end of a pirate's career varies widely. Many meet a violent death in battle, killed by musket balls, sword cuts, or flying splinters from cannon fire. Blackbeard, one of the most feared pirates, died this way, cut down by Naval Lieutenant Robert Maynard and his crew. Some pirates prefer this fate over the shame of execution. It is a final act of defiance, a life lived fully until the last breath. Others face the gallows. Captured pirates are tried in maritime courts, sentenced to death by hanging, and displayed publicly as a warning. Their bodies may even be placed in iron cages to mark the harbor entrance. A rare but cruel fate is marooning. Pirates who break the code or betray the crew can be abandoned on deserted islands with only basic supplies, water, a knife, and sometimes a single-shot pistol. Survival is possible, but extremely difficult. Loneliness and exposure are the true punishment. This system shows that pirates enforced their own law just as strictly as the empires they defied. Trust and loyalty were essential to survival, and betrayal was not tolerated. For many, the quietest end comes through the king's pardon. Faced with growing naval patrols and dwindling opportunities, pirates sometimes surrender. They swear allegiance to the crown and vanish back into ordinary life. Thousands chose this path, leaving the sea behind. The Golden Age ends not with spectacular battles, but with a silent, almost invisible withdrawal from a dangerous, lawless world. Only a few pursued legendary retirement with fabulous treasure, a dream almost impossible to achieve due to the pirate ethos of spending and enjoying wealth immediately. As the historical pirates disappear, legend takes their place. In 1724, a general history of the robberies and murders of the most notorious pirates by Captain Charles Johnson is published. Combining facts, interviews, and dramatic storytelling, the book immortalizes pirates like Blackbeard, Calico Jack, Anne Bonny, and Mary Read. It turns historical figures into legendary characters, blending truth with sensationalism. Pirates become larger-than-life icons, inspiring generations with tales of daring, cunning, and rebellion. Later, Robert Louis Stevenson's 1883 novel Treasure Island shapes the modern pirate myth. He invents Long John Silver, a clever, treacherous, but charismatic pirate with a parrot. Stevenson turns Captain Kidd's rare case of buried treasure into a central theme for all pirates. Maps, hidden chests, talking parrots, all become standard pirate imagery. These fictional creations build a world of adventure, danger, and excitement, far removed from historical reality. Finally, the 20th century brings pirates to cinema. Hollywood turns them into charming swashbucklers. Actors like Errol Flynn define the heroic pirate, acrobatic and romantic, swinging on swords and winning hearts. From Stevenson to film, the dangerous, short-lived pirate of history evolves into the adventurous, free-spirited icon we know today. Witty, clever, and daring, Captain Jack Sparrow, in Pirates of the Caribbean, embodies this legend. Charm, skill, and a life of ultimate freedom. The empires struck back. Pirates faced betrayal and death, yet legends were born that would live forever. But what happens when history fades and myth takes over? Stay tuned to uncover how pirates transformed into the heroes and icons we recognize today. Even after the golden age of piracy ends, the shadow of pirates remains everywhere. Their stories, exaggerated or real, continue to spark imagination. The world remembers the danger, freedom, and unpredictability of life at sea, even if most people have never set foot on a ship. The pirate's legacy is more than gold or adventure. It is a symbol of rebellion against rules, a life lived entirely on your own terms, and the dream of absolute freedom. Young sailors and readers everywhere are drawn to these legends, longing for a world where daring and courage matter more than law and order. Pirates also left a cultural mark on the modern world. Their language, songs, and customs were shared across ships and ports. Shanties sung to coordinate labor on deck are still remembered. Today, telling stories of toil, survival, and camaraderie. Pirates developed codes of conduct that balanced personal freedom with strict accountability. Every man's share of loot was defined, and punishment for betrayal was swift. In a dangerous and unpredictable world, their unique system of governance ensured fairness and survival. It was a society of its own, operating outside the law, but with rules that all respected. The myth of buried treasure, though rarely true, became central to pirate stories. Treasure maps, with an X marking the spot, captured imaginations worldwide. This legend inspired countless novels, movies, and games. Even though historical pirates mostly spent their wealth immediately, the idea of hidden gold on a deserted island symbolizes hope, adventure, and the pursuit of dreams. People still look at maps, imagining themselves uncovering lost fortune, walking the same dangerous path as those who lived it centuries ago. The image of the pirate captain with a parrot is another enduring myth. While a few sailors may have had exotic pets, most did not. Yet this image became iconic, representing the pirate's colorful, unpredictable personality. Pirates were clever, resourceful, and theatrical, which made the addition of a parrot or exotic pet a perfect symbol. It also reflects how storytelling shaped the pirate legend. Over time, these details became as famous as the historical figures themselves. They created a recognizable, visual identity that helped legends spread far and wide. Pirate legends continue to inspire films, books, and video games. They are no longer seen as criminals, but as daring adventurers and rebels. Movies like Pirates of the Caribbean reinvent the pirate, combining wit, charm, and skill. These modern depictions focus on fun and excitement, leaving out much of the harsh reality: scurvy, mutiny, and endless labor. Yet this sanitized version keeps the spirit of freedom alive. It reminds audiences why pirates fascinated the world in the first place. Their life was unpredictable, thrilling, and completely outside ordinary rules. Education and museums also preserve pirate history. Exhibits often mix fact and legend, showing real weapons, tools, and ships alongside dramatic reconstructions. Visitors learn about daily life at sea, the dangers faced, and the economics of piracy. They discover how pirates captured cargo, distributed loot, and built communities at sea. By exploring artifacts and documents, people gain a sense of what piracy was really like, appreciating both the hardships and ingenuity involved. It is a history full of tension, risk, and creativity, far richer than the simple myth of buried gold. The pirate ethos, living fully in the present, still resonates. Pirates spent their earnings quickly, lived for adventure, and took risks others would avoid. This mindset appeals to people today, in a world often dominated by rules, schedules, and long-term planning. The idea of prioritizing freedom, loyalty, and courage over comfort or certainty continues to inspire. Pirates, though gone for centuries, serve as role models for daring, unconventional living, reminding us that life is short and should be embraced fully. Yet the darker reality should not be ignored. Life at sea was brutal. Pirates faced disease, storms, starvation, and violent death. Not all legends were heroic. Mutiny, betrayal, and fear were constant. Understanding the dangers gives depth to the myth, showing that behind the charm and treasure stories, there was real suffering and moral ambiguity. This duality, romantic adventure versus harsh reality, is what makes pirate history compelling, teaching lessons about risk. The legacy of pirates also reflects the societies they challenged. They disrupted trade, defied governments, and created independent communities. Ports like Nassau thrived as pirate havens, showing that alternative systems could exist, even temporarily. Pirates forced empires to adapt, influencing law, trade, and maritime strategy. Their story is not only about adventure, but about resistance, governance, and survival in a world dominated by powerful nations. Pirates reshaped the seas, leaving a lasting imprint on history and imagination alike. Pirates may have disappeared from the seas, but their legend lives on, shaping stories, films, and dreams. What secrets and truths lie behind the myths we still celebrate today? Stay tuned to uncover the hidden lessons of pirate life, beyond gold and glory. Pirates didn't just leave behind stories of treasure and violence. They created a culture that was unique to the sea. Life aboard a pirate ship was strict, yet surprisingly democratic. Captains were powerful, but the crew had a voice in decisions. Rules were written in pirate articles, and everyone agreed to them before sailing. This system balanced freedom with order, allowing men of very different backgrounds to work together in extreme danger. The pirate ship became a small society where survival depended on both individual skill and group loyalty. Music was one of the most important parts of this culture. Shanties kept the crew in rhythm when raising sails, pulling anchors, or loading cannons. The songs weren't just entertainment, they were essential for coordinating work. A skilled shantyman led the song, and the crew responded in unison, creating power and efficiency. During calm periods, ballads told tales of heroism, love, and loss. Storytelling and music became the threads that connected the crew, keeping morale high during long, lonely stretches at sea. These traditions were passed from ship to ship, forming a shared culture that defined pirate life. Games of chance were another key pastime. Cards, dice, and wagers kept the crew occupied when not on duty. Stakes could range from small amounts of coin to shares of plunder, and disputes were resolved according to the ship's articles. Cheating was taken seriously, often punished severely, because the integrity of the crew was essential for survival. These games provided excitement, reinforced social bonds, and reflected the constant risk-taking inherent in pirate life. The line between work, play, and survival was often blurred, creating a unique rhythm to life at sea. Pirates also had their own brand of justice. Violations of the articles, stealing, cowardice, or betrayal were met with immediate punishment. Exile, marooning, or death were real threat. But the system was surprisingly fair. Each man's share of loot was guaranteed. Injured sailors were compensated, and the captain could not take more than his agreed share. This created trust in an otherwise violent and uncertain world. Pirates understood that loyalty and fairness were vital to survival. A divided crew meant certain disaster. The balance of freedom, discipline, and fairness made the pirate ship a functioning society, unlike anything on land. While pirate life offered freedom, it was also dangerous. Disease, poor nutrition, storms, and accidents were constant threats. Every voyage carried the risk of death. Engagements with naval ships or armed merchants could be sudden and lethal. Many pirates met their end in battle, while others were captured and hanged. The constant danger shaped the pirate mindset. Live for today, take risks, and enjoy the spoils while you can. These harsh realities were often overshadowed by the legends of daring, treasure, and adventure, creating the myth of buried treasure grew from this romanticization. In reality, pirates rarely hid gold. Most spent their wealth immediately on shore leave, luxury, or supplies. The famous case of Captain Kidd is almost the only historical example of treasure being buried. Yet stories of hidden wealth fired the imagination of readers and writers, inspiring novels, plays, and movies. Treasure became a symbol, not just of wealth, but of hope, mystery, and adventure. It represents the eternal human desire to discover something extraordinary, a legacy that lives far beyond the seas. Pirates were also storytellers. They shared tales of victories, losses, strange encounters, and legendary ships. These stories informed and entertained, but they also taught lessons, warning others of danger, praising bravery, or mocking cowardice. Oral tradition was the main form of communication for illiterate sailors, so storytelling became a vital part of survival. The exaggerated tales, combined with facts, eventually evolved into the legends that influenced literature and popular culture, creating the archetypal pirate we know today. The transition from history to legend was accelerated by writers like Captain Charles Johnson. His book, A General History of the Robberies and Murders of the Most Notorious Pirates, mixed facts with drama, giving names, deeds, and personalities to figures like Blackbeard, Calico Jack, Anne Bonny, and Mary Read. This book shaped public perception of pirates, highlighting both cruelty and cleverness. Later, Robert Louis Stevenson's Treasure Island added fictional elements like treasure maps and Long John Silver, turning pirates into adventure heroes. Today's popular image is a blend of reality, exaggeration, and imagination. Pirate legends continue to evolve. Movies, video games, and novels reinterpret these characters for new audiences. Each adaptation emphasizes different aspects: charm, cunning, heroism, or treachery. The fascination endures because pirates represent freedom, defiance of authority, and living life on your own terms. Audiences are drawn not just to gold or battles, but to the values pirates embodied: loyalty, courage, and the thrill of adventure. They are symbols of rebellion, capturing imagination across centuries. The pirate life may have been harsh, dangerous, and fleeting, but its culture and legends have endured for centuries. What made these outlaws so unforgettable, and how did their stories shape the world we imagine today? Keep watching to uncover the truth behind the pirate myth. As time passed, the golden age of piracy began to face its end. The great empires of Europe, England, Spain, and France, were no longer distracted by wars with each other. Their navies, once too busy for careful policing of the seas, could now turn their full attention to pirates. This shift changed everything. Once, pirates could sail freely, capturing merchant ships with little fear of reprisal. Now, the oceans were filled with warships designed specifically to hunt them down. The world the pirates had ruled so boldly was shrinking, and danger was no longer optional. It was constant. To try to regain control, authorities used a clever combination of reward and threat. Kings offered official pardons to pirates who surrendered before a certain date, forgiving all crimes and allowing them to return to normal life. This offer divided pirate communities. Some older pirates, tired of constant danger, accepted the pardon, leaving the sea with their earnings and the hope of a quiet life. Others distrusted the promises and remained loyal to the pirate Brotherhood, seeing surrender as a betrayal of freedom. This tension weakened pirate havens, creating divisions that the empires could exploit. When pardons were ignored, governments unleashed the full force of their fleets. Fast, heavily armed frigates patrolled the Caribbean and American coasts, manned by disciplined naval officers and Marines trained for combat. These ships outmatched any pirate vessel in both speed and firepower. The once unstoppable loops and maneuvers of pirates were no match for the raw strength of naval strategy. Many pirates found themselves outgunned, outnumbered, and outmatched, unable to escape. The threat of capture became real, forcing pirates to make difficult choices: fight, surrender, or hide indefinitely. The most skilled pirate hunters were sometimes former pirates themselves, men who had accepted the king's pardon, like Benjamin Hornigold, knew the secret codes, hidden routes, and strategies of their former comrades. Hired by governors like Woodes Rogers, these hunters could strike with precision. This betrayal added another layer of tension to pirate life. The Brotherhood, once united by freedom and loyalty, now faced an enemy from within. Trust became fragile, alliances shifted, and paranoia crept aboard even the most disciplined crews. The sea, once a place of opportunity, was now a battlefield against both empires and former friends. The end of a pirate's life could take many forms. Some died heroically in battle, as Blackbeard did, falling in close combat against a determined naval force. Others faced the public shame of the gallows, where execution served as warnings to all who might consider piracy. Hanging was often swift, but for notorious captains, the body might be displayed in iron cages at harbor entrances. A chilling reminder of the consequences of lawlessness. Yet, some pirates experienced exile through marooning. Left alone on a deserted island with minimal provisions, these men faced a slow battle against nature and isolation. Survival was rare, and the punishment carried a terrifying finality. Despite the dangers, some pirates chose the king's pardon, quietly disappearing from the seas. They returned to ordinary life, leaving the violence behind. For the silent majority, piracy was a wild, brief chapter in an otherwise ordinary existence. The dreams of legendary treasure, long escapes, or endless freedom were seldom realized. The life of adventure and rebellion was intense but fleeting, often replaced by ordinary survival, business, and family life once the seas became too dangerous. The myths of pirate life grew stronger after the Golden Age ended. Tales of buried treasure, walking the plank, and parrots on shoulders captured imaginations far more than reality ever did. In 1724, Captain Charles Johnson wrote a general history of the robberies and murders of the most notorious pirates, blending fact and storytelling to create compelling characters like Blackbeard, Calico Jack, and Bonny. His book made pirates famous, transforming a brutal profession into exciting legends that thrilled readers across Europe. Robert Louis Stevenson took these legends further in Treasure Island, introducing elements like treasure maps and Long John Silver, the charismatic one-legged pirate. Stevenson's work popularized the romantic pirate archetype, cunning, daring, and morally flexible. This blend of historical detail and fictional adventure created the template for modern pirate stories. The pirate transformed from a desperate outlaw into a figure of thrilling escapade, influencing literature, theater, and eventually cinema. Hollywood cemented the modern pirate image. Films starring Errol Flynn presented swashbuckling heroes, swinging from ropes, dueling with swords, and charming beautiful women. These movies combined adventure, romance, and danger, turning pirates into cultural icons rather than criminals. The fictional pirates we see today, like Captain Jack Sparrow, draw directly from these traditions. They are playful, witty, and daring, living lives of adventure that real pirates rarely experienced, but which capture the imagination of generations worldwide. The golden age of piracy ended in fire, betrayal, and surrender. But the legends it left behind still thrill us today. How did desperate criminals become immortal heroes in stories? And what truths were lost in the myth? Keep watching to discover the line between history and legend. Even after the golden age of piracy ended, the stories and legends continued to grow. People remembered pirates not as criminals, but as symbols of freedom, rebellion, and adventure. From the Caribbean ports to European cities, tales of daring sea battles, hidden treasures, and cunning captains were shared widely. For many, pirates became heroes of a life unconstrained by rules. They represented the ultimate escape from society's expectations and the harsh realities of everyday life. It was a life that few could ever live, but many could dream about. The legends of pirates were built on both truth and exaggeration. Books like A General History of the Robberies and Murders of the Most Notorious Pirates mixed real events with fictional details, making characters larger than life. Johnson's stories describe the clever tactics of pirate captains, their strict codes of loyalty, and their fearless attacks on enemy ships. But he also added drama, creating intense duels, secret treasures, and daring escapes. Readers loved it, and the popularity of pirate stories spread quickly across Europe, inspiring further books, plays, and eventually novels. Stevenson's Treasure Island then transformed the pirate into an enduring figure of fiction. By giving pirates a map marked with a secret X and inventing Long John Silver, Stevenson created archetypes that define modern pirate culture. The cunning, charming pirate with a hidden agenda, the one-legged rogue, the loyal crew, and the treasure hunt all became essential parts of the pirate mythos. These elements captured imaginations because they were exciting, easy to understand, and full of danger and opportunity. Pirates were no longer just men at sea. They were symbols of adventure and freedom. The 19th and 20th centuries saw the transformation continue with theater and cinema. Plays romanticized the danger and excitement of pirate life, while movies brought pirates to the screen in vivid detail. Actors like Errol Flynn in the 1930s and 1940s became the face of the swashbuckler. He portrayed pirates as acrobatic, heroic figures who always fought for justice or their own sense of it, and charmed the audience with wit and courage. Sword fights, rope swings, treasure maps, and daring rescues became the expected visuals for any pirate story. The real history faded into the background as legend took over. The influence of cinema reached new heights with modern films, including the Pirates of the Caribbean series. Characters like Captain Jack Sparrow combined cleverness, charm, and humor with the thrill of danger. These films drew on centuries of pirate mythology while adding modern flair, special effects, and expansive storytelling. The audience experienced a world where pirates were entertaining, morally flexible, and never completely defeated. The historical pirates who had struggled, fought, and often died in harsh conditions were replaced by immortal icons of adventure and freedom. Despite the myths, historians continue to uncover the real lives of pirates. Unlike the charming heroes of novels and films, historical pirates lived hard, short lives full of risk, strict codes, and moments of intense reward and extreme danger. Their ships were crowded, the diet was monotonous, and the threat of violent death or capture was constant. Pirates worked as a cooperative team, distributing plunder according to strict rules, with severe consequences for those who cheated. They were pragmatic, disciplined, and highly skilled sailors, not romantic adventurers. The difference between myth and reality highlights the human need for stories. Legends simplify and dramatize, turning complex, often grim events into tales we can easily understand and enjoy. Pirate myths focus on freedom, courage, and excitement, ignoring the unpleasant truths, disease, injury, and the constant threat of execution. These myths allow us to imagine a world of adventure where rules are bent, danger is thrilling, and life is lived fully in the moment. In reality, pirate life was brutal, but in stories, it became magical. One reason pirate myths endure is that they inspire curiosity and imagination. Maps with hidden treasure, clever captains, and daring sea battles appeal to the adventurous side in all of us. They promise a life beyond the ordinary, a place where daring and cunning can triumph over order and rules. The line between history and legend may blur, but the appeal is clear. Pirates are symbols of independence, and even today, pirate stories continue to influence culture. From video games and novels to theme parks and movies, the pirate remains a captivating figure. Children and adults alike are drawn to tales of cunning and bravery, of narrow escapes and secret treasure. The essence of piracy has shifted from reality to fantasy, but the emotions it evokes, fear, excitement, admiration, and longing for freedom, remain just as strong as they did centuries ago. Pirates became legends not just because of their deeds, but because we needed heroes who could live outside the rules. But what happens when reality collides with myth and the true history behind the stories is revealed? Stay with us as we uncover the shocking truths behind the pirate legends. As pirate legends grew, the real stories of their lives remained hidden beneath layers of myth. While books and films presented pirates as fearless adventurers, the truth was much harsher. Life at sea was a constant struggle against hunger, disease, and the unpredictable ocean. Storms could tear ships apart, and even minor injuries could become deadly infections. Yet pirates endured because of the promise of freedom, shared wealth, and the thrill of the chase. Every successful raid brought them a mix of fear, adrenaline, and reward that few other professions could offer. The structure on pirate ships was surprisingly organized. Contrary to the lawless image, captains had limited power and the crew held significant influence. Pirate articles, the rules of the ship, outlined shares, punishments, and duties. The quartermaster often had more authority than the captain when it came to dividing loot or settling disputes. This system prevented mutiny and maintained cooperation. Pirates were also skilled strategists. Attacking a heavily armed merchant ship was not a chaotic free-for-all. They used clever maneuvers, such as crossing the enemy's T, to maximize cannon fire while minimizing their own risk. Specialized ammunition, like chain shot and grape shot, allowed them to disable ships without sinking them, preserving the cargo. Every battle required teamwork, timing, and precision. This was not mindless violence. It was calculated, practical, and brutal when necessary. The goal was always to survive and profit, not merely to kill. Despite their discipline, the risk of death was constant. Pirates knew that a single misstep could lead to capture, hanging, or violent death in battle. Blackbeard, for example, met his end in a fierce confrontation with Lieutenant Robert Maynard. Some pirates were hanged publicly as a warning to others. Others faced marooning, left on deserted islands to survive alone. Yet, for every pirate who died violently, many chose the king's pardon and quietly returned to society. The decision to leave was often safer than continuing the dangerous life at sea. The myths of pirates hiding treasure, walking the plank, or keeping parrots on their shoulders are largely inventions. The famous buried treasure story mostly comes from Captain William Kidd, who buried a small amount of wealth before being captured. Stories of walking the plank were rare and likely fictional, created to entertain audiences. Even the parrot, made popular by Treasure Island, was not a common pirate companion. These myths persist because they are thrilling, visual, and easy to imagine. They turn complicated history into a simple, exciting story. The golden age of piracy was short-lived but intense. European empires eventually turned their full attention to the pirates, sending warships and experienced governors to enforce the law. Some pirates were hunted down by former comrades who had accepted pardons. Many were captured, hanged, or forced into exile. Those who survived often did so by accepting amnesty and reintegrating into society. The fleeting freedom of piracy came with a constant awareness that the next storm, battle, or betrayal could end everything. Yet pirates left a lasting legacy. Their stories reveal the human desire for freedom, excitement, and rebellion. They challenge us to imagine what life might be like without rules, constraints, or expectations. The myths of hidden treasure, daring adventures, and colorful characters continue to captivate audiences because they represent a world where courage and cleverness are rewarded, and the ordinary becomes extraordinary. Pirates are more than historical figures. They are symbols of our imagination and longing for adventure. Even today, pirate culture influences entertainment, literature, and games. From novels and films to theme parks and video games, the essence of piracy, risk, strategy, loyalty, and freedom remains compelling. While the real pirates lived short, violent, and disciplined lives, the stories allow us to live vicariously through their adventures. We see the thrill without the danger, the cleverness without the cost, and the freedom without the consequences. These tales continue to inspire and entertain, centuries after the last pirate ship sailed. By studying both the reality and the legend, we understand that piracy is a story of extremes, discipline and chaos, risk and reward, fear and freedom. Pirates were ordinary men who made extraordinary choices, living fully in the moment while constantly facing mortality. Their legends grew because the human imagination needs heroes, adventure, and mystery. The contrast between harsh reality and romanticized myth creates a compelling story that never fades. The real pirates were clever, disciplined, and fearless, but their lives were short and brutal. So what happens when the law finally catches up? Join us in the next part to uncover the dramatic final acts of the most notorious pirates in history. The final chapter of the Golden Age of Piracy was a turning point. As the European empires grew stronger, pirates faced impossible odds. Powerful navies patrolled the seas with faster, heavily armed warships, and determined governors hunted outlaws with unwavering determination. The pirate havens that once offered safety, like Nassau, began to crumble under pressure. Pirates who had once ruled the Caribbean were forced to make impossible choices: fight and die, surrender and accept the king's pardon, or vanish into obscurity. The thrill of freedom was fading, replaced by the looming shadow of authority. The end of many pirates' careers came in dramatic and often violent ways. Some met their fate in battle, like Blackbeard, who was killed after a fierce confrontation with Lieutenant Robert Maynard. Others faced the gallows in public executions designed to terrify any sailor tempted by piracy. For those who broke the pirate code or betrayed their comrades, marooning on deserted islands offered a lonely and terrifying end. Survival was possible, but the punishment was designed to isolate, humiliate, and ensure the pirate's story ended in exile rather than glory. Yet, not all pirates met violent ends. Many chose the king's pardon, quietly returning to life on land. They reintegrated into society, often keeping their past a secret. These men represent the silent majority, the ones who survived because they were pragmatic, cautious, or simply lucky. For them, the golden age of piracy became a wild chapter in a life otherwise ordinary. They lived on their adventures mostly forgotten, leaving behind a few stories, coins, and the memory of the freedom they once enjoyed. The romantic image of pirates, however, was far from reality. The myths of buried treasure, parrots, and walking the plank were popularized in literature, not history. Captain William Kidd's buried wealth inspired generations of tales, while Robert Louis Stevenson's Treasure Island created unforgettable characters like Long John Silver and the iconic treasure map. Later, Hollywood films transformed pirates into charming adventurers, such as Errol Flynn's swashbuckling heroes and eventually Captain Jack Sparrow. These portrayals reshaped the public imagination, turning brutal criminals into exciting legends. Pirates, in reality, were clever, disciplined, and pragmatic. They operated under a strict code of conduct, ensuring fairness and cooperation among their crew. Every raid required careful planning, strategy, and teamwork. They understood the balance between risk and reward, and knew when to fight or surrender. Life on the ocean was harsh, demanding physical endurance, courage, and a keen mind. These qualities made them formidable opponents, even as the world around them began to tighten the noose of law and order. Despite the dangers, piracy left a lasting legacy. It is a story of rebellion, freedom, and adventure, a brief, violent flash in history that continues to capture our imagination. Pirates symbolize human desire to escape rules, live boldly, and challenge authority. Their legends inspire books, films, games, and countless creative works. The myths, while often exaggerated, reflect a longing for independence and excitement, reminding us that even ordinary people can live extraordinary lives, even if only for a fleeting moment. The transformation from history to legend happened quickly. Within decades of the Golden Age, pirate life was being romanticized in printed books, starting with Captain Charles Johnson's A General History of the Robberies and Murders of the Most Notorious Pirates. Johnson mixed real events with dramatic storytelling, creating vivid biographies of infamous pirates like Blackbeard, Calico Jack, and Bonny. These accounts blurred the line between fact and fiction, ensuring that the stories of piracy would endure long after the last pirate ship had sailed. By the 19th and 20th centuries, literature and cinema cemented the romantic pirate image. Stevenson's Treasure Island invented the parrot-toting, treasure-hunting pirate archetype. Hollywood films added charisma, swashbuckling heroism, and thrilling adventures. Pirates became symbols of freedom, cleverness, and daring, masking the grim reality of disease, starvation, and violent deaths. The enduring appeal lies in this contrast, the real danger juxtaposed with imagined adventure, creating characters who are heroic, cunning, and larger than life. Today, pirates remain a cultural icon, representing rebellion, courage, and adventure. From novels and films to video games and theme parks, the myth of the pirate is celebrated worldwide. Yet, the truth remains fascinating. A life filled with discipline, danger, camaraderie, and fleeting substance, rewards. The historical pirate made calculated choices under constant risk, facing storms, enemies, and mortality daily. The legend may sparkle with romance, but the reality was one of survival, loyalty, and pragmatic adventure.